So we are working on a little bit different twist on our tracking system um, for numbers, and I think Laura's going to try to pop up a screen here and share that. This is what she's working on. This is just a snapshot rough draft. This will be coming out in June, but we did want to highlight that. And so, some of what we're going to be tracking is obviously activity. And guys, not only for you, I mean, that's as coaches and mentors, we have to know your activity numbers to be able to know how we can help you. And so this is going to allow us to do that. You're still going to have to track on your end. However, those of you who have the power dialer, those numbers are going to be tracked. So all you're going to have to do is just download those numbers. So that's going to be nice there. But also just tracking some of our events that are coming up. And again, if you were on the call last week with Marshall and Jacob or heard that recording, the thing that, and these guys have massive organizations that are, well into the seven figures of revenue generation for those guys. And they tie everything that they've done back to getting people to events, and that's huge. So make sure that when this comes out, and again, this is not live yet, we're still kind of working out some of the details. Be looking for that in June, but we did want to highlight that because we want to get better. Kind of like the call from last week when we were talking about, we want this to be an agency of excellence and really tracking and making sure we're staying on top of our production and those keys that make this business successful. Next announcement. So conference coming up in August 2nd and 3rd. And guys, I'm kind of watching the numbers. One of the things that I'm going to be doing here in the next couple of weeks is going to be talking to some of the folks that went to conference for the first time, back in April, and what an impact. And I'm already seeing the impact. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about this. I mean, the conference we had in April, I mean, we're going to see that play out, over the next 90 days as people's numbers keep climbing and climbing. But, we're only 2 or 3 weeks out, and we're already seeing those improvements in activity, in numbers turned in, applications written. I mean, you guys are taking those tools that you picked up, and we see it every time. You go to one of these events, and your business explodes. And for those of you who went and went to those classes and are, most importantly, implementing what you learned in your business, we're seeing those numbers happen. So, and it's going to continue. If you went to a conference and you're starting to see improvement, but you don't feel like you're seeing enough improvement, just keep applying what you learned in conference. Because I guarantee you, by early summer, we're going to see some numbers spiking for those of you who went there. So definitely, guys, get signed up for this event. You want to lock in your travel. You want to lock in your hotel. The hotel, we're getting word that the rooms are already starting to get booked up to the point where there are fewer and fewer available. And once they run out of their room block, sometimes they can get a few extra rooms, but that's not always a guarantee with these resorts, especially in the summertime with a lot of people traveling and vacationing. Guys, we may not have rooms available at a discount rate. You may have to wind up paying more. So, and those rooms rates are excellent for the resort that we're staying at. So do take advantage of that. One of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to throw out a little extra bonus for those of you who get signed up by the end of May. So by the end of May, extra bonus. Now, those of you who are early birds who jumped on that first week, you've got a nice little care package that's going to be there for you, and you're going to get a chance to go to dinner with us at conference. Those of you who missed that for whatever reason, we're still going to throw up a little extra bonus. And let me share the screen because we have and Laurie's done a lot of great work. We've come up with a very nice shirt that anybody who signs up by the end of, blow that up. Anybody that's signed up by the end of the month of May will get one of these shirts. Obviously with our logo, not whoever the generic logo is, but you'll get one with our logo, our team logo, and Symmetry's logo on both. And again, Larry's done a ton of work. Those logos are going to look awesome on that gray shirt. So definitely you want to get hooked up with a ticket. Doesn't matter if you're on my owner's pack or if you're on one of the owners pack of one of the leaders on the team. Doesn't matter. If you sign up, on anybody's owner's pack, then we will get you. We will have a shirt for you when you get to conference. And on that note, if anybody wants to order extra shirts, we're going to put together an order. Obviously, the more that we order, the better the pricing that we can get. But if you want to order extra shirts, say that you've got your ticket and you've got one of these coming, but you're thinking, hey, obviously I don't want to wear the same shirt every day when I'm going out and running appointments. I'd like to be able to rotate them and have a clean shirt every day. If you want to order 2 or 3 or 5 more, let us know. It looks like the pricing on that is going to be right around $25. And again, if we get enough people who are wanting to add shirts and we get a big enough order, we might be able to lower that. But let's just say for now it's going to be $25. So if you want to get in on this deal in really nice shirts with stitched logos, that's going to be really cool. We're excited about that. So, okay, guys, that's it for announcements this morning. I want to go through a training. We're going to do something a little bit different this morning. A lot of times, my trainings are kind of more verbal, but we're going to actually share a training with you this morning. We're going to use the whiteboard. I'm going to pull that up right now. Give me just a second here. If I can get my computer. There we go. So there's an objection, not an objection. Sometimes this is a roadblock. Sometimes it's an objection. Sometimes it's just something we have to navigate around. And what it is what do you do when you come into a home and the client says, or they may even say it on the phone, hey, we've got life insurance. And again, that can come up in one of 2 ways. Either A, we've got life insurance, so I don't think we're really going to need a lot, or B, we've got life insurance, and so I don't know that that we really even need this. So what we're going to do today is there's a very easy and effective way to shoot this down, and you can do it in a way where it's non-confrontational. It's not something that you're going to have to convince the client. You're going to be able to show them in no uncertain terms that they are going to, they're not in the position that they think they are. Because here's the reality, guys. I don't care how much insurance most people have, and some people think they have a lot. I guarantee you 90% of the people that we sit in front of are underinsured. Some are uninsured, but they are underinsured. And so, this is a quick little tool that's going to help you demonstrate how underinsured they are. And again, you're not even going to have to tell them they're underinsured. It's going to become painfully obvious to them. So let's say if we're having a conversation, what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to roll through this, and then we're going to go back and talk about some of the highlights and why the psychology behind some of the things that I do here. And this has been a highly effective tool, one that I've used a lot of times to either get additional sales or convert a sale that wasn't going to happen. So when you're in the home and you want to do this on a notepad, this has got to be something that's sketched out. So you're talking to the client, either going through the qualification form or maybe just in the warm-up, and they say, yeah, we're actually, this may not be a conversation we even need to have because we've got life insurance. Guys, what you want to do is take control of the conversation there, and you want to first congratulate them. Hey, that's great. I'm glad you got life insurance, and you've probably got a ton. In fact, there's an easy test for you to know exactly how much life insurance you have, and let me show you how that works. And guys, this is where you're just going to take over the conversation, and on your notepad at the top, you're going to write, Mr. Client, there's 4 reasons why people buy life insurance primarily. I mean, there's obviously others, but the main 4 reasons are, number 1, death, the cost associated with death. Number 2, taxes. Number 3, income replacement. And number 4, debt. And I apologize, I'm writing on the whiteboard here, so if it comes out a little sketchy, just follow along, write it down on your notepad. This is why I want you guys taking notes this morning. Okay. So you say, Mr. Client, these are the 4 main reasons that people buy life insurance. Now, death, the cost associated with death. Obviously, it's going to be funeral or cremation. Average funeral costs are $8,000 to $10,000. But you know, the good news is, you tell me you have life insurance, so we're going to put a check mark. That's already taken care of. We're not even going to have a conversation about that today. Taxes, Mr. Client. We usually have a conversation around death taxes. If you have $1 million liquid or more, now you have a beautiful home here, but unless you're hiding something from me, I don't see necessarily this is going to be an issue that we're going to have to even talk about. So let's not even worry about the death taxes. So the main reason what it really boils down to is income replacement or debt payoff. And again, that's why you called me out here, because you have this $300,000 mortgage that obviously has to, somebody's going to have to pay at some point, and you're making payments on it right now. And guys, here's and when you're talking to the clients, you say, this is the test on how much life insurance you need in place for income replacement. And this is something, I'm going to share this little tool with you. This is something when I need to talk about this, have a conversation, kind of come up with a number that you feel comfortable with. But I just want to show you how to actually do that calculation. So, Mr. Client, I'm going to assume, and if they haven't told me, I'm just going to say, I'm going to assume that you have at least $300,000 worth of life insurance. I'm sure you probably have more, but I'm going to say you have at least $300,000. And Mr. Client, if you were to die today, obviously you can't just put that in a checking account and start spending off of it just to replace your income, because if you do that, you're going to run out of money pretty quick. And so you have to put that money to work. You have to put that money in a vehicle that is going to actually generate revenue for you. Now, you could put it in the stock market. The problem with the stock market is $300,000 today could be $150,000 tomorrow. So we don't want to put anything risky, because again, this is money for your family. We can't do that. Now, we could put it in a very safe location, like maybe a savings account, but Mr. Client, what are savings account earnings today? And they're going to kind of groan, roll their eyes and say, yeah, 1%, 0.5%. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Even if you put it in a long-term CD, you may get 1.5%. Well, that's not going to pay you anything. So, Mr. Client, what you want to do is you want to take this $300,000, and this has to go into an annuity. And an annuity, if you're going to shop the market now, and let me give you some free advice here. Don't go to a company, say like Prudential or Mutual of Omaha. Not that they're bad companies, they're actually great companies, but they can only sell the products that they have. You need to really shop the market. You need to work with an independent broker like myself, but find somebody who's going to go out on the market and find you an annuity. You should be able on the open market right now to get one that's paying you 5%. Now, Mr. Client, if you're getting 5%, you take 5% of that 300,000. What that's going to do for you is that's going to provide your family with $1,500 a month of income. Okay, so that's going to be your income replacement. Now, the good thing is Chris has already come out and set up a plan to pay off that 300,000. Now you just need to make the determination how much money does your family need to leave, to be able to live on. But that's why we're here today. We're going to take care of that mortgage, and we're going to pay that off for you. Okay, so guys, let's talk about this real briefly. The psychology behind this. And it doesn't matter, just kind of a quick note, if somebody has already told you how much life insurance they have, you can actually plug that number in here. Obviously, if it's less than that, if it's 100,000, I mean, they're going to be freaked out by the time you get to the end of this. But even if it's $500,000 or more, we're still going to show them how they are in a bad situation, because, and again, you don't even have to say this, because when we get down to this bottom line number, $1,500 a month, let's say the main breadwinner, in a lot of times this is still the case, is the husband. Doesn't matter if it's the husband or wife, but let's just say the main breadwinner is pulling in $5,000 a month. We've just shown how $5,000 a month goes to $1,500 a month. And again, you've had to say nothing to them. Guys, this is light bulb moment. When people see this, and you can almost see the panic, especially like I said, if it's a situation where the husband makes more money, you'll see the panic on the wife's face when the reality hits her in the face. Because the problem is, say somebody is making $5,000 a month or $60,000 a year. 300,000 sounds like a big number because they don't make that in a year. But the reality is, $60,000 a year, a $300,000 death benefit, that's only going to last them 5 years if they were just to spend dollar for dollar and not put this money anywhere to work. And so that's why, again, kind of going back to the psychology, as soon as I start talking about income replacement, I'm going to say, well, you obviously don't want to spend that money because it's going to be gone in a short period of time. And again, if you already know how much they make, you do that quick math and say it's going to be gone in 5 years. Okay. So we're gonna take off the table the option that you can't just live off of $300,000. It's got to be doing more for you, or it's going to be gone, and your family is going to be up the creek. Then we're going to talk about, well, how are we going to put it to work? Well, we need to shoot down the mutual fund idea, the stock idea, because again, that's risky. You put that in, yes, maybe you can earn 10, 15%, $30,000 a year. But you can't count on that long term. And if that account were cut in half, again, to 150,000, that family is going down the drain very quickly. So that's where we set up the idea that, hey, you've got to put it in a vehicle that's going to be safe. Bank account's not an option. Again, when you say what's a good safe earning bank account, what's the percentage? They're going to recognize, they're going to realize this is the environment that we're in. They're not going to get anything that's going to provide them any significance. So when you come down to the annuity, this is the logical choice that's going to provide them something better than a bank account as far as earnings, but is also going to provide them safety. And again, I'm taking myself out of the equation by saying you want to go find an independent. You want to go find an independent agent. I'm not saying you need to come to me because again, that sounds like I'm trying to do a sales pitch for annuities. I'm just telling them, hey, if you ever find yourself in this situation, I'm giving you free advice here. Go find a good agent who can shop the market, find you an annuity. You should be able to get at least 5%, probably a little on the high side right now, to be quite frank with you, for a fixed rate annuity. But again, these numbers are still going to work out. When we come down and we run a $1,500 a month income replacement, now, the one thing that you can add in is you could say, look, here's the thing about life insurance. It can either be an income replacement or it can be a debt payoff, but it can't do both. Because if I take $300,000 and pay off your mortgage, you're missing this income. And I'm trying, my screen moved over here, so apologize for if it's bouncing around. So it can't do both. Life insurance is a great product, but it's not a magic product. It can't pay off your debt and replace your income. Okay, guys, if you go through this process with somebody, and you don't have to do it with every appointment, but especially those appointments where right up front they say, well, I've got life insurance, I'm not sure I need this. Or as you're going through the needs analysis, they're like, we're pretty good. We've got a lot of coverage in place. I mean, and you don't even need a number. This is why I prefer even to not have a number, because quite honestly, high percentage of the people that you're going to be talking to don't even have $300,000 of coverage in place. And again, you got to think about the psychology of the people that we're meeting with. Our bread and butter client is middle America. Okay. These are, great people, blue collar people who go out, work either an hourly or a low salary job. They don't have financial advisors. They've never had anybody walk them through the planning process. And so for them to have a policy, and part of this is probably going to be through their work too. That's another conversation that you need to have with them. But for them to go through and say, mentally, I got $300,000. That's a lot of money. I'm in pretty good shape. And then you go through and walk through this process and show them you've got $1,500 a month, and that's what you're going to have to survive on. Plus, we've got this debt here, which I'm telling them, and again, here's kind of coming back to psychology. I just told them, hey, Chris has come out here and take care of this for you. I've already assumed the sale. So I've already assumed that we've taken care of this, but in their mind, they realize that that's not been taken care of. We've still got to sign up today, or otherwise we now have to take care of income replacement and debt elimination. So guys, and again, that tool right there has converted a lot of appointments to applications. Use that. Those of you, even if you've been in the field quite a bit, those of you veterans, and this is, I don't remember training on this for a long time, so some of you may have not even seen that. This little process right here will convert sales for you. One of the things that you need to get in the proper mindset of, guys, is number one, you're the expert. I don't care if you're day one. You're day one in this business, but you've passed your license. Well, you already know more than 90% of the population because they don't know all the ins and outs of insurance. Okay. So rule of thumb, and again, this, here's the thing about rule of thumb. This doesn't apply to everybody. A lot of people need more than this, but rule of thumb is they need at least 7 to 10 times their annual income in life insurance. And like I said, that's a variable, because then we have conversations about kids' college and how much debt they have. So 7 to 10 times is kind of the accepted, quote unquote professional recommendation. Honestly, we need to be going through a needs analysis to determine exactly what they need. But this little tool will help debunk this idea in their mind that they've got enough insurance in place. So just remember, again, 7 to 10 times their annual income. You don't even have to share that with them. You need to know that, because you need to walk into every house saying, this client is underinsured and I need to make sure they're covered before I walk out. Okay, that's your job. Okay, so and there's one other thing I was going to share with you guys. I apologize, I lost my train of thought. Besides the 7 to 10 times your annual income, we do have some, I was going to mention this, we do have a couple of needs analysis planning tools that you can access for free. One of those is through Virtual Mentor. There's a sidebar there where you can go do a drop-down menu, actually do a little plan for them. And so you plug their numbers in, whether it be college savings, whether it be the retirement, whatever they're looking to accomplish, you can plug those numbers in. Okay. And then another one, Forrester's Financial, their quote engine actually has a free, even if you're not writing Forrester, so I want to step back and say you don't even have to be writing Forrester's, but their quote engine has a free needs analysis tool that you can use as well. If you want to know how to get to that, just go to the SFG Life website, sfglife.com, under the carriers, go to Forrester's. In that menu there down at the bottom, you'll be able to see you will see with the link for the Forrester's quote engine, and you can actually go to the quote. Again, it's free. You don't have to have an agent ID. You don't have to have a login. Just go to that, and you can be able to run needs analysis. So very important, guys, as agents, that we are doing our job to educate these people about their financial situation, and don't ever let anybody buffalo you into the idea that they've got their stuff together. Guarantee you 99% of the people we talk to don't, or not enough. And so you're the professional. Take control of that meeting. That little tool, if anybody wants to kind of go through that on a one-on-one basis, I'll be happy to walk through you with that, but it's a very simple process. Hopefully you were writing that out. Again, I do it on a notepad. That's why I always carry just a notepad with me to standard, the college ruled notebook is all you need to be able to go through that little process. And what you're going to find is, number one, that's going to make the mortgage protection sale easier because they realize, hey, I've got to take care of this debt. But it's also going to uncover some conversations on what they need to do to actually get the right amount of insurance in place. And I know what I was going to say earlier. Anytime somebody tells you that they have life insurance in place, always ask for that policy. You need to review that policy, because you need to know, number one, what they have. You might be able to be competitive with it. You might not. Doesn't matter. What the more important factor is, most people don't have what they think they have. I mean, it's kind of a little bit scary how high the percentages are of people that don't have what they think they have. And I don't know how many times I've gone through a policy, and I'll never forget. We had a client that lives east of Springfield, out in a rural area, and she was very proud when I asked her about insurance. Oh yes, we've got a lot of insurance. I have $250,000 on each of us, and it's a great policy. I said, oh, congratulations, fantastic. I mean, I'm glad to hear that. Do you mind if I take a quick peek at those policies, and then we'll just kind of review that coverage? So she was very organized, went to her filing cabinet, pulled those out, laid those down on the table. I read through them. They were Globe Life. For those of you who don't know, Globe Life is big into accidental life insurance. I said, these are excellent policies. These are accidental policies, but they're excellent policies. She said, I'm sorry, what? I said, yes, accidental policies. If you die in an accident, they're going to pay. She says, well, but what happens if we get sick? I said, oh, there's no coverage there. She was floored. She had been operating under the assumption that she had life insurance in place. Okay, so the problem is, by going in and just taking what they say at face value, you're not doing your job. You need to make sure that you're seeing their information. And in that case, as soon as I told her she had accidental death policies, the conversation flipped. Before she was like, I'm not even sure we need this. I don't know. It went to, Chris, what do we need to do? And I said, okay, well, here's what we have to do, this, this, and this. We need to get this coverage in place. We need to do this policy, and this is how we need to do it. And I said, what can you afford? And instantly, it wasn't about me trying to convince them to buy mortgage protection. It was them asking me, what do I need to do to fix this? So always make sure you're checking those policies, guys. High percentage of the time, people do not know what they have, or they do not understand what they have. And again, it's on us. We're professionals. It's on us to be able to provide that value to them. So one thing I want to do is go ahead and give anybody the opportunity. If you want to type a question into the chat, or I think you might be able to unmute yourself. If you want to try to unmute yourself and ask a quick question, I'll be happy to address any of this. I do see somebody said, where do you say you can get the info from again, please? Best place to go is if you're referring to the needs analysis, the one that everybody can access, even if you're a brand new agent and you haven't even got your login or your logins yet, is Forrester's quoting machine. And I believe it's forresterscalculator.com, if I remember right, but I'm not actually. I need to probably look that up and before I go spouting out web addresses. So anybody have any questions that they want to hop on, ask?
So Chris, can you hear me?
Got you loud and clear.
Yes. So that tool works when we're in front of the customer. What would your rebuttal be if that came up over the phone?
So they say, hey, I've already got life insurance. We're good. We got plenty of life insurance. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. They tell, they're very vague about it. Yeah, we're pretty well covered. We have insurance.
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways to attack that. Number one, and obviously over the phone we don't have all these tools available, so it's got to be verbal judo, and that's your best bet. So over the phone, the response, and if you look at the response objection sheet, we've got a couple things written in there. The ones I always like, the one that seemed to be most effective, somebody just said, I've got life insurance. Again, I would say, that's great. In fact, I'm a broker, and that's the reason I'm calling, because typically I can save somebody $300 to $400 a year on their existing coverage. Let me just verify some information. I'll get some quotes out to you. And I'm going to immediately start asking questions. And that's important. Too many times people want to answer an objection. They'll go through it. I'm a broker. I can save you money. And I personally, it kind of varies a little bit. Sometimes the objection is written where I can save you so much a month. I like to say I can save you $300 to $400 a year, because that sounds like a bigger number. I can save you $300 to $400 a year on your existing life insurance. I just need to verify some information. I'll get those quotes out to you and start asking the questions. And that's a big one there. Too many times people will give an objection response. In other words, they'll effectively answer it, but then they'll pause and wait for the client to respond, like a dialogue back and forth. The big key on the phones, guys, is you can't, there's what we call the death pause. If you pause, they're going to think of something and come back. So you want to make sure you answer that. I can save you $300 or $400 a year. Let me get some information. I'll get that put together for you, and I'll get that out to you. So I need to see here that you're 65 years old. Is that still correct? Or have you had a birthday? I mean, boom, we're going to right into verification, non-tobacco, any health issues. Want to make sure I get you the best rate. In fact, I can save money a lot of times by getting people preferred rate. Throw that in there because people love getting preferred rate. And that will help you a lot of times on that objection. John Gilliam asked 5% on annuity. Is that 5% a year? Yeah, that's a 5% annual rate of return. And again, that's on a fixed annuity. That's probably a little bit high. It's been a while since I've looked at fixed rates, quite honestly. And it is, but again, kind of giving benefit of the doubt. Guys, the big picture here is you're going to show them, even if it were 6%, 4%, doesn't matter. That number that they have, and we use the 300,000. Actually, I'm going to circle back to that. We use the 300,000. If I don't know the number, I'm going to say 300,000. Probably a lot of cases going to be less than that, quite frankly. But again, you'll notice when I set that up, I was giving the client the benefit of the doubt. I said, Mr. Client, you probably have at least 300,000. In fact, you probably have more, but let me just take 300,000 as a starting point. Reality is that if they haven't told you, they're probably sitting there with 100,000 from work, double their income or whatever. But so we're giving them, number one, credit for being smarter or better prepared than what they actually are. And number two, we're also setting it up when we get to the end of that equation. If I said you're going to earn $1,500 a month income replacement on 300,000, in their mind, oh crap, I've got $100,000. That's $500 a month. We're up excrement creek without a paddle. Okay, so that's where that reality starts hitting them in the face. Okay. Okay, Stella. Is there ever any class from the carriers or SFG that covers understand the nuts and bolts on policy and where to look to see? Yes, we have the webinars every Thursday. Of course, as you go through Virtual Mentor, you always have the link to the agent guide. So guys, that's one of the things I always encourage is as you go through and run your quotes, look at those agent guides and just look at the highlights. What are the included riders? What are some of those benefits that are built in? But keep in mind, this is something we don't utilize enough. None of us do, myself included. All the carriers have sales desks. Call their sales desk. This is not an underwriter. This is a sales desk. So sales, these are the people that are eager to move more product. So they're going to tell you, here's the highlights. Here's what I would tell a client. Here's what I think's the best, the sparklers on this cake. So they're going to give you that information to be able to take to that client and say, Mr. Client, this is a great plan. ... Now, keep in mind, guys, don't be selling this product based on features and benefits. This sale happens in the why, the emotional part of the conversation. If you're trying to sell it on features and benefits, you're going to get, I'm thinking about it, what's the price? You're going to get shot down every time. This has to be an emotional conversation. Your features and benefits come in on the back end as you're filling out the application. Even after you finish the application, Mr. Client, congratulations on a great decision. Let me tell you what additional benefits this plan has for you. You really made a solid decision here. This company, A-rated. These are the products and are the additional benefits that this offers. Okay, don't sell on features and benefits, or you're going to put yourself in a bad situation.
Hey, Chris, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I guess, so more importantly, when I'm looking at somebody else's policy, they already have an existing policy. Is there usually when I've worked with lease agreements in the past, there's the term, the rate, and, just that kind of information. And I'm just wondering if there's something like that with insurance policies. If I look at someone else's, not one necessarily that I'm recommending to them, but one that they already have. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so if they have a full policy, and sometimes they'll have just a summary, and unfortunately the summaries or a billing statement are pretty hard to work off of. So you want to have a full policy if at all possible. If they don't have it, now if they do have a summary and it's during business hours, I would call their company. I would jump on the phone with them. Hey, Mr. Client, let's call the company. Let's make sure we understand exactly what your coverages are. While you're on, be asking the rep, hey, what's this? What's their coverages? What's this policy have? Are there any riders included? Make sure you're always asking that. Just help them understand what they have and just be a resource for them. But yeah, if they have their policy jacket, there will be a table of contents that you can actually go through and see, what is set up within that policy. Okay. Question John asked, would you ask them to have their policy available when you ask to see them? Like, and I'm assuming when he's saying when you're setting up the appointment. If you've got a good enough rapport with them on the phone, I would. Now, if they're saying, I'm not sure I need this, I've got life insurance, et cetera, I don't know. That to me, that's kind of a little bit of a sketchy scenario. I mean, you're probably just wanting to get that appointment nailed down and get out to the house and then have a conversation around life insurance. You don't want them to get the feeling that you're going to try to sell them something else or talk them out of existing policy, even though you're doing it from a standpoint that you're just wanting to review the coverage that they have. Like I said, I would want to have a very good rapport, and you want to know that you have a client who's asking you a lot of questions, especially if they're saying, well, I've got this life insurance and I think it's pretty good, but I'm not really that sure about it. Then yeah, I'm going to say, well, hey, look that up, make sure you have it out there, and we'll look it over when I get there, and I'll help you out with that. So that's, like I said, kind of case by case basis. Take that as you will. Any other questions? All right, very good, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap up the call here a little early for everybody. Let you jump on the phone. Zoom room is open. The Zoom dial session, for those of you who are brand new, this is going to be your first week on the phone. Join us. Laurie, you could post that. In fact, I think it was posted earlier this morning. Repost that Zoom room link for everybody to jump on. Guys, we are having great success with the Zoom room. People are sharing, and and again, you're not going to be listening to everybody talking. It's not going to be this loud, nonstop. It's muted out, in other words. But it's the opportunity for everybody who is going through that same process, dialing, making calls, to jump on, do that together in a room, and you actually get to listen from time to time. We'll unmute one of the top performers in the company. You get a chance to hear them make calls and understand a little bit of how they have the success that they have. So take advantage of that. Zoom room will be open all day today, and get a chance to jump on. Guys, appreciate everybody jumping on. Set up a big week next week. Have a good dial session this weekend, and we'll catch you all on call next week. Have a good one.